Ladies and gentlemen, this is ProWSoul from ProWSoul.co.uk, and this is the question of the day, and that is, could CM Punk be a great MMA fighter? Yeah, could he be good in MMA? Could he become an MMA champion? That is really the question. Now, seemingly, the WWE and CM Punk are not actually working things out. It looks as though recently CM Punk did an interview in which he said never, 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 something along the line of that. You can check it out on There's plenty of places that have that interview, but that's what he said. And apparently, rumors on the internet are basically saying that the WWE is not happy with CM Punk, and they are about to file a lawsuit against him. They have removed, I think, t-shirts from the WWE.com, and they've taken him off the SummerSlam poster for 2013 one, where he faced Brock Lesnar, and basically they're just trying and putting him in the alumni category. And so clearly it's looking like the distance between the WWE and CM Punk is going further and further and further. Now the thing is, recently CM Punk, he's come on a video because he trains with Gracie, the Gracies, and he was with Holler Gracie in the video, where he was basically doing a kind of like a recap of how, I don't know which fighters, but he was with Holler Gracie. He was doing basically a tutorial of how someone got a submission, and quite frankly, this is a thing which is kind of like indicating him going, well, not going, but more or less, looking the MMA route. Clearly doesn't seem as though, hey, he's going to become an MMA fighter. There's no indication, but it just seems as though, well, he likes to roll and do jiu-jitsu. Now the question is, a lot of speculation is, will he become an MMA fighter? Now the thing is, maybe, I think, this is my presumption, I think maybe, you never know, he might, after about 6 months or so, or even more longer, he might just decide and have an itch and want to try it out. Seems as though he is actually training with the Gracies, and he's doing quite a bit of jiu-jitsu. He must be improving, and he may be even thinking about doing MMA fights. I mean, he may think quite a bit, because I mean, he traces with Cesar Gracie. He knows Ronda Rousey, he knows a lot of the MMA fighters, and the Gracies who they train with, they've trained the likes of Batista and Nick Diaz are some of the big stars as such. But Nick Diaz, he's a UFC fighter, for those who don't know, and Dave Batista trained as well with the Gracies. And that's how he got the fight which he did. And it was a good opportunity they did, and Batista won that fight. And I think the Gracies may eventually take CM Punk that route. I think it's completely possible that could come into fruition. Now the thing with Batista was that Strikeforce got bought out by the UFC, therefore any chance and hope in heck that Batista would be fighting in a Strikeforce, or maybe to further his career, it kind of diminished completely. So the thing with CM Punk is that he's got good links with Dana White. He does go and see a lot of fights, and he goes to the UFC quite a bit as well. And seems as though he trains with them guys. He may most likely want to do it. Now the real question, which is what was the main thing which I was saying, is, would he be a good MMA fighter? Now, in terms of him being a good MMA fighter, the Gracies are completely famous for their jiu-jitsu. So in terms of Punk being a talented individual, I think in terms of his ability wise, his jiu-jitsu would definitely stand out. He's got a frame of body where he's not much of an athletic wrestler type of person, so you wouldn't expect him to take guys down at will, but he would work a lot better on his back. And in terms of his striking department, I'm not too sure. When you see some of his technique in the WWE, I don't think it's amazing personally. I think he has a lot of heart when he wrestles, and that's what got him through in WWE. But in terms of technical ability and stuff, he was good, but he was not a star standard. And even if you check his kicks out, them kicks what he used to do to the legs, etc., they looked slow. So his striking, to me, it just seems, he's not going to be amazing on that aspect, and maybe he's going to be quite flat-footed. But I think in terms of even the wrestling, he has an advantage in terms of he was pro wrestler, so his cardio will be up to, wraps completely. However, his athleticism ability, I've not seen huge, I've not seen amazing stuff. Sure, he's gone on the top rope and done a flying elbow to the outside tables, but if you actually watch it, Shawn Michaels and Shane McMahon's and Rob Van Dam's is miles better, and they're doing it with complete ease, whereas with CM Punk, he is using a lot of willpower, but in terms of his natural ability, I can't see it. But yeah, he does have good cardio. I think in terms of his weight wise, I think he's walking around at maybe even 225 or something along the line of that when he was at WWE. So him to make 205 would be easy for him. However, I think that would just be absolutely ridiculous for him to be fighting at 205. I don't think, one, he would have the knockout power. If he could do so good punches, I think he may need to train with Nick Diaz in terms of his accumulation type of punches, where Nick Diaz is good at that, and I think that would be something maybe CM Punk would be good at. But in terms of knockout power, you don't see any explosive power athleticism in CM Punk in that regard. And for his height as well, I think 205 would just be... it'd be easy to make for him. However, I do not feel as though that he could make 205 and be top contender. Really, I do not in the UFC. I don't think he would make it at all. I think John Jones would just, oh gosh, it would just be horrible. Even 185, I think, no, completely. 185 is a real tough division. If you look at it, you've got Chris Weidman, who is an amazing wrestler, but not only that, he's well-rounded in terms of his leg kicks, catching up on distance, and he's very good at, wrestling simple. And I think CM Punk, with his body frame, etc., maybe he could, try on the outside, maybe jab him, move him, jab and move, trying to get prevented from taken down. But I do think that Chris Weidman would be just too overwhelming in terms of his wrestling ability, and the guys at 185 would be a lot more tougher for him. So I think ideally, if CM Punk could do good, would want to even consider coming to MMA and the UFC, I think what he should do is go to 170 pounds. I think ideally he may not have the speed advantage, but he'll have the power advantage and the height advantage, and he can break guys apart from distance, and you know, that would be the idea. He'll have the power advantage as well, so he could just get Mike Dolce to help him out there, and overall it would be quite very, very. I think he would be good at 170 personally. It's a real fast division, so it's between 170 and 185 for him. But I think ideally, if he's thinking of not basically getting KO'd, etc., I think 170 pounds is perfect for him. It's a safe bet if he can do it easily with Mike Dolce. However, 185 is another position for him. I mean, 205 is just too difficult. You've got Daniel Cormier and all the other guys. But in general, for CM Punk, for him to actually do this, he would need a lot of training. There is no doubt about it. It's not an overnight thing, without a doubt. And that is just saying it in all respect to all the UFC MMA fighters out there. So, I mean, sure, I do feel as though his athletic ability in terms of, well, not athletic ability, but his talent, his ability to wrestle in professional wrestling, gives him a lot of, you know, segue to come into the MMA industry, and I think it would be good for it to happen. Ideally, I think CM Punk, what he should do is basically train with the Gracies, sign with Bellator, because Bellator have now got a new owner, which is the same owner which had Strikeforce, which is Scott Coker. Because Scott Coker, he's good at making super fights, and this is what people would want to see. They want to see a spectacle, and I think ideally CM Punk would be good for that. And not only that, because Bellator are with Spike, he could ideally work with TNA as well. So in that respect, he could, you know, hit two birds with one stone. He could work with TNA on the side, as well then work with Bellator to boost his career, movie and fight guys. Maybe he should go and fight in the middleweights over there and see how it goes. I think he could become a champion over there. Unfortunately, I do not know many of the you know, fighters in Bellator, unfortunately. I know the champion, he lost to Tito Ortiz recently. I think maybe CM Punk could beat him. Who knows? I don't know. You know, it's all hypothetical really in this situation. However, I do feel at the present time, if he is thinking of actually doing this and, you know, weighing out whether he could do this, I think the ideal thing for him to do would be to go to Bellator and do both. But, you know, that's up to CM Punk in the end of the day. Could he do a good run in the UFC? I personally would have to see him fight some. I would have to see him fight a few fights before he gets any top 10 opponents, really, without a doubt. I don't think it's the case of like with Brock Lesnar, where he was a natural talent and he was a, you know, an All-American champion in amateur wrestling. So, you know, he hasn't got the automatic background in terms of that respect. So he'd have to start from scratch, I think, and see how it goes. Ideally, I think Bellator would be the beginning step for him. Then maybe he'd go to UFC. Yes. What do you guys think? What do you guys think? Could he be good? I think in Bellator he would. As far as if he gets a few wins, etc., then maybe he should go to the UFC. But as far as the UFC level is concerned, I don't think he is. I don't think he's at all ready for that. I don't think anybody can contemplate that, really, in reality. simply because Brock Lesnar was a different person. Really, he was an amateur wrestler, amateur wrestling champion, and he was a natural athlete and etc. So it's a different completely ball game when it came to that part. But CM Punk does have the cardio, so it is all up to CM Punk. Could he do it? It's all up to him. I think, like I said, it's not a good idea for him at present. But if he was to do it, he should go to Bellator. Okay, let me know what you guys think. Do you guys think he should go straight to UFC and get in the find the top 10 guys and just get in there and see how it goes, or do you think he should start from scratch and move the way up, or maybe you think he should just fight some crazy matches like the Green Power Ranger? Whatever it is, let us know what you guys think. Drop a line. Please like, subscribe, share, comment, etc. Thank you for listening to this. Please visit the sponsors as well. Thank you. Have a great day. Peace out, everybody. Peace.